right, guys, here we go with another of our Evolution Consulting market update videos as they have come to be known at this point. This one being recorded on the 30th of October 2016, day before Halloween. It's about 12:30, which really doesn't matter today because it is in fact Sunday, so obviously no market action. However, it being Sunday, today is the day. I typically carb load a ridiculous like 3,000 calorie breakfast and then chain smoke and watch the Formula One Grand Prix, which incidentally is in Mexico this week. And so I will be sitting there cheering on Team Mercedes. We got Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg pretty much just absolutely dominating the Formula One season, along with I think there's like one win by Team Red Bull there. So pretty cool stuff, guys, for those of you that do follow Formula One. If you don't, I advise you do. It's some pretty damn exciting racing. I mean, it really is the pinnacle of motorsport. So with that being said, guys, this is probably the last market update video that we are going to do prior to the Great American Shit Show known as Election Day. November 8th, rapidly approaching, so we will, I just wanted to share some stuff here, guys, real quick about portfolio prep or election proofing your portfolio, and say a couple of words on the election, and we'll start there, guys. Firstly, I don't know how to put this any other way other than the fact that this election is going pretty much as we forecasted, all right? It really is kind of the rise of the tyrant kind of thing going on. And we've reached a very critical tipping point. And in terms of, I wrote about this in Wirehouse. So for those of you that do subscribe to Wirehouse, the special election edition that went out, if you guys are interested in that, we will sell that one separately. And it was kind of a real dissection and analysis of the election that's going on, is that Trump and the movement that he created, okay, guys, has reached something called the point of no return. All right, and he's in pretty damn elite company when we say that, simply because you know, you have to really, really look at history to kind of see other leaders that have reached something that we have come to call the point of no return. Okay, and we're talking about, you know, Stalin, Mussolini, Hitler, Napoleon to some extent, Pol Pot. All right, I mean, we're talking about, you know, all the greats. But they reach a point of no return, and that is when there is a political movement or there is a leadership, a systemic level movement, you know, as far as they're not just another candidate within a system, they represent a new system, okay? And that's really what Trump is about, and that's why he is, if anything else, very different than any other candidate that's in the modern history of presidencies, because he's the first one to openly, not just the political system, but the system surrounding it, media, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, all right? But he's gotten to the point of no return, which is where even his opposition realizes that he's going to win. It's like, you know, for those of you that are unfortunate enough to have emotion, which, as I've said many times, I've had emotion once. It was terrible. But for the time being, it's for those of you with emotion, there are the stages of grief, okay? And one of those stages is denial. And that's what I think a lot of the, you know, the mainstream and, you know, a lot of those who oppose him, they've been in some component of denial. He can't really win, can he? No, he can't really win. This week, if nothing else, this weekend represented acceptance. Effectively, I'll paraphrase. Oh shit, he's really gonna win. Okay? And then when that oh shit, he's really gonna win kind of sets in, which is, we said this once before, and certainly in our election edition, it's the reality is now setting in that he is going to win. He's going to win because he's supposed to win. Okay? He does represent the new management team of the planet, as we like to call it, and he does represent an entirely new, more species-centric system. He's the beginning of that in the United States. And now that that's happening, okay, those who oppose him are starting to really kind of figure something out. One of which is that, and we've said this openly, Hillary, realize it or not, agree with it or don't, again, we're politically atheistic. We look at this completely arbitrary and only from an economics perspective. But to speak to the political component of it for a second, okay, she's got to be realizing right now that she was thrown to the wolves, okay? She was set up like a bowling pin, a human punching bag for Trump to pretty much beat into an unrecognizable pulp. And that's exactly what he did. She became the face of an old, dying, obsolete system and was just sent forth to lose, all right? And to be a visual aid and to be an example and to be something for him to just absolutely pound into pulp. And he did, all right? And, I think she realizes that now. And I think those around her now are starting to realize, uh-oh, he's going to win. All right? And that's what we mean by that point of no return. Okay? And that's where the under-the-bus throwing party begins. That's where those that oppose him, those of his opposition, start to all toss each other under the bus and kill each other, okay, realizing that, well, maybe if we can kind of prove our loyalty to him now, and, maybe he'll be nice to us once his regime comes to power. It just delays the inevitable. And it sounds spooky to say, but it's true. All right. That's what's happening, though, now. You look at the intentional leak by Anthony Weiner, and now that would be an example of fraud. I'm not talking about WikiLeaks. WikiLeaks is something completely different. That's the new management team affecting a U.S. election by proxy. I mean, that's pretty obvious. But what's going on within her own campaign and what's going on within the Democrat Party now, where they're all starting to toss each other under the bus now, that is what I call the point of no return in modern politics, or in any leadership. I mean, you can go all the way back as far as the Roman Empire and see that kind of stuff, certainly before. That's where somebody rises to power that's got so much momentum on their side, that's got so much power and so much charisma, and really, you can only do that when you have the truth on your side. And it just so happens that he does. I mean, he's the worst nightmare of the old paradigm. He's a complete psychopath with the truth on his side. Guys, scarier than that, it doesn't get. I don't know how to put this in it. You got a maniac that happens to be right in what he's doing. So call him a justified lunatic or whatever, or justifiable lunatic, whatever you like. He's winning because he's consequences. I don't know how to put he's consequences for an old system, whether you agree with him or not. He's a monster of their own creation, and here he is. So guys, that being said, as reality sets in that he's going to win, a couple of things we need to talk about from a portfolio and from a trading, and let's talk about something that matters perspective, like our own personal trading account. All right. First of all, you've probably never heard me say, matter of fact, I can tell you for a fact, you've never heard me say this in coming up on 4, by the way. 2017 will be 4 years of public information sharing that we've been doing in one form or another, from the system that we built here. Okay, one of which is, you ready? Get clear of the market. Okay, I know there are guys out there that make careers out of the market's going to crash, doom and gloom and holy hell and all that fun stuff, right? It's the first time and maybe one of the only times you'll ever hear me say that. With two sector level notable exceptions. But guys, get clear of the market, especially the index level stuff. Okay, and I know recently we said, buy into the index level stuff. Well, guess what? We got a little bit of a run out of it, and there that went. Okay, we got a little bit of a run out of the index, and I'm talking about, UDOW and SPXL and stuff like that. But any equities, any positions that you may have, guys, that really trade with the indexes, if you're up in those positions, take what you got. If you're even in those positions, clear out and mitigate it. If you're down in the positions, you know what? You can always buy in later at a lower price and mitigate your risk. And there's a reason we say that. Because the popular narrative circulating on mainstream networks, and we're talking about the ubiquitous ones, your Bloomberg, your Fox Business, and your CNBC guys, has this notion that he is going to be the most horrible thing that has ever happened to modern American capital markets in the recorded history of the world, and we have heap piles of information suggesting that exactly the opposite is true. Midterm and long-term. Specified. We're talking maybe a year or two into his first term, and certainly moving towards what will invariably, if he does half of what he says he's going to do, invariably be his second term. Okay? So with that in mind, guys, the near-term shock is what we're saying mitigate. And that is, and it has a lot to do with the self-fulfilling prophecy, a.k.a. shoot, arrow, paint, bullseye kind of effect of group thought or group trading or irrational trading. All right, and that is you get enough people on mainstream media saying he's going to be the worst thing that's ever going to happen to capital markets. Guess what, guys? It becomes self-fulfilling, okay? It works like a lot of systems on this planet. If you get enough imbeciles to believe something, you can start to kind of generate a result. All right, and that is exactly what's going to happen there based upon our forecasting. Now, is this election tradable where, we might miss a portion of a rally? Yeah, you know what? We might. But then again, we also might miss the reaction of a whole bunch of morons that are freaking out and having a sell-off simply because they were told that Trump's the worst thing that's ever going to happen to capital markets, not stopping for a second to think that if you listen to a lot of his policies and a lot of his approaches to economics, that's exactly what the United States needs, which is why he's going to win. But nonetheless, Um, with the exception of, and I'm going to say certainly our perennial favorites, guys, JNUG, NUGT, USLV, GDXJ, SLVP, and the miners, Newmont, Eldorado, Barracks, and New Gold. Okay, as the reality sets in that he's going to win, never mind the domestic reaction of, oh my God, Trump is going to win. Let's think for a moment about the international reaction. Okay, you think he's a wild card perceived in the United States as a lunatic. Outside the United States, forget it. They have no idea how he's gotten as far as he has, and they sure as hell have no idea how he's won. Some nations, other nations that have been through that kind of stuff before, are kind of looking and going, "You thought you'd never see that in the United States, haha." Okay, but the fact of the matter is, guys, the uncertainty, the economic uncertainty that he represents. And some radical policy changes in terms of trade and in terms of currency and in terms of system level stuff, guys. That represents uncertainty. And uncertainty, gold and silver, they like uncertainty. Okay, they feed on that. And what we're seeing now is, as that acceptance process starts, which is to say, America's going to have to start accepting the fact that they just elected Donald Trump. And as the reality sets in, guys, look for certainly the same imbeciles that'll probably initiate a sell-off in the domestic equity markets. Look for them to start scurrying for gold, all right, and scurrying for silver, okay, and let it happen. Be in those positions. We have a number of customers I talk to on a daily basis, all right, very nice people that are just positioned so right. They don't even know it yet, but they're just positioned so right. Because we're forecasting, the effect of Trump as a president, him winning, okay, is going to have a multiplier effect that the Brexit had, or a greater a level of intensity many times greater, many orders of magnitude greater than Brexit had, okay? So for those of you that read our stuff and you listen to these market update videos, you'll hear me often reference, metals need catalyst events to move higher. And what moves metals higher? Chaos. All right? And Trump getting elected is a pretty damn powerful example of chaos. All right? Maybe Jeb said it best. Donald, you're a chaos candidate. Yes, he is. All right? But the point of the story, though, guys, from a metals investment, perspective, that's a catalyst event. That's a very real, very palpable, tangible, not just, and then back to previous lows. That's a real reason for metals to increase in value and stay increased in value, significantly. How much? Couldn't tell you. We have a hypothesis. We've seen information suggesting that the Trump win is the catalyst for 1400 and higher. Okay, and it really doesn't require that much of a stretch of an imagination to see why. Again, there's just so many wild cards with him. You don't know. Most people don't know. Let me rephrase that. Most people don't know. We have a pretty good idea of what he's all about, and we like it. That said, again, we're suggesting you clear the capital markets, especially that stuff that relies and trades upon indexes, guys, if for no other reason than to avert, idiots reacting irrationally. Okay? So with that said, again, it's the first time you've heard me really kind of say that. Get clear, put your capital back in your account, go to cash, all right, sit back, relax. Me personally, I'm going to be heading over to Aldi's, my favorite grocery store on the planet, by the way. If I ever designed a grocery store, it would look like Aldi's because it's just in and out. Done. It's just to me. We didn't have those in New York, and having lived 32 years in New York, you had to move to Western Pennsylvania. I discovered Aldi's, and I was just like, these are great. But I will be buying some Jiffy Pop there, guys, and I will certainly be sitting back and watching November 8th, feeding my face with popcorn, and it's going to be what I call the Great American Shit Show du jour. So, but again, guys, just and again, we're just going to advise clear the market, clear. Don't have any, have as little exposure with the possible exception of another sector also, guys, which is the chaos sector. FLIR, LRAD, Taser, Smith & Wesson, Strum Ruger, to a lesser extent, Vista Outdoors. Those chaos trades. By the way, guys, for those of you that were really paying attention, we haven't mentioned it yet. I'll probably throw a chart up in the edit somewhere here. FLIR, nice 10% run and still going. All right. On missed earnings, by the way. So that tells you something. The only time you'll ever see an equity run like that on missed earnings, it's got to have something to do with forward-looking guidance and future guidance, okay? And It's for that tactical defense sector, guys, for them to get a 10% run based upon forward-looking earnings. That'd be pretty damn significant. And that's probably going to translate into Taser as well, all right, which we've already done a market update video on. FLIR, Taser, LRAD is another one. But that chaos sector, okay, and I mean, it's kind of cool. A lot of our Twitter followers have been sending stuff kind of going evolution proven correct. Gun sales, guys, especially in the last 2 weeks, have just been freaking off the charts. And geez, it's like, we see that, we really enjoy it, but it's like surprise, surprise, told you. But with that being said, guys, with the exception of possibly leaving some exposure to that chaos sector and certainly the metal sector, guys, clear out. Again, I don't do this stuff for attention. I don't do it for publicity. It's a running track record of our accuracy, and I'm here to help those that want to help themselves, so to speak, or at least at the very least make a fortune as the result of what's going on and what's going to happen anyway. All right. So with that said, other sector, real quick, oil, UWTI, USO, UCO, as tempting as it may seem, okay, to leave a position in those UWTIs, and I've already said get clear of those. I said that 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago. As tempting as it may be to try to play that, and you could if you want, okay, but me personally, not so much. UWTI, UCO, USO, though, yeah, I mean, Trump wins. We know the Russian sanctions will eventually get lifted. Is that a near-term kind of thing? I would say probably not, based upon what I've seen. So. Point of the story, as tempting as it may be to want to be long those oil plays and say, Trump wins, oil prices are going to go ballistic. Unknown. All right. Not something I'd rather miss one, okay, than blow up a portfolio. Really. All right. So that said, again, metals, guys, how the dollar is going to react. There's another one we haven't really talked about, how the U.S. dollar is going to react to a Trump win, guys. U.S. dollar they've been using the U.S. dollar as a desperate way to repress spot prices now for a month and a half, coming up on 2 months. That shit's about to stop. That's getting shut down real freaking quick. Trump wins, how the U.S. dollar is going to react, guys, is, look. All right, and that's going to be real good for those futures contracts that do predicate or make up a lot of those ETFs. So there's just a lot of stuff now on the side of metals and those catalyst events. I know we've been a little bit early to the party. We've been talking about them for months now, but they're starting to happen. All right, Brexit was one. You saw what happened. Now Trump is going to be another one. How he reacts and starts to go about foreign policy and trade policy and stuff. That's going to be another. So there's just a lot of another no rate hike. Gee, what a surprise, guys! And no rate hike. Whoop-de-doo. That'll be another boost. And of course, don't forget we have the SGE with the big giant red "fuck you" button on their desk, going, "Oh, metal spot price go higher now, huh?" So I'm sure there'll be a number of magical boosts hidden in there as well. So that said, guys, again, as the reality sets in that it does appear that he's going to win, we're going to advise, to get clear, with the exception of those two sectors that we mentioned, the metals and the chaos. Get clear, sit back, relax, pop your Jiffy Pop, enjoy the election, guys, and enjoy the under the bus throwing party, because it really is quite amusing, for me at least, to watch an empire just implode upon itself, and that's really what's going on, guys. It's the end of a political system. Or the end of a political paradigm in the United States. And you can count how many times I've said systemic in here. Transparent trader. A bit of a troll there. So, but that's the deal, guys. Just get clear of get clear of those capital markets. Sit back, relax, enjoy, have fun. And then we can start trading the post-election kind of mayhem. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of volatility and plenty of excitement there, guys. So sit back, enjoy, relax, and let's see what else happens, guys. Like I said, we forecasted. We said he saved a lot of powder. He kept a lot of powder dry because he understands the short attention span theater nature of what's going on and the speed of information, or at the very least in his campaign. Those that are helping his campaign along truly understand the speed of information. So they saved their kill shots for the very last second just because they want those fresh in people's minds. All right, and that is, again, example of just, by the way, one more thing I do want to add, and I know this is kind of a long one, it's the only one we're going to do before November 8th, again, barring any unforeseen happenings. But people ask me, they say, well, who do you think is going to win the election? And I kind of smirk and I just go, Trump. Okay, but who do I think already won, or what I should say, do I think already won this election? Ha 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 ha, technology. All right, welcome to the technocracy, folks. It's very real and it's very here. All right, because you've just watched technology, be that through WikiLeaks, be that through Snowden, be that through a zillion other technological sources, guys, had a direct effect and basically picked the president of the United States. How do you like that? That's just the way it is. That is, technology has already won this election. The technology and those able to make use of technology, they already won the election. Or I should say, they already won, period. All right, because they've had just such a dramatic effect on this election. I'm talking about Julian Assange and Snowden, all those characters, as I like to call them. Those are hired guns of the new management team. All right, so with that in mind, guys, as always, if you'd like to email us, by the way, we got our new domain. Everything's all transferred over, nice and happy. Google domains, guys that own small businesses, by the way, or even enterprise level stuff. Google domains is now called G Suite. G Suite, rather. What an awesome platform! What an absolutely awesome platform! I have to, I'll tell it the way it is. It's good stuff. But if you would like to email us, email shouldn't bounce anymore. We got all our MX records set, but somewhere over there. Is it over there? What the fuck is it? There it is. Info@evolutionconsulting.world. Info@evolutionconsulting.world. All right, do feel free to email us. All right, and certainly we're far less active on Twitter now, guys. We got some announcements coming. I'm not going to make them yet, but we have made a bunch of commitments to the private sector business-wise, so our public information sharing, guys, may be somewhat limited. All right, which means we're not going to be as active anymore in in sharing the public stuff. So, but info on that later. If you want to follow us on Twitter, it is at. That's not called an ampersand, by the way. And apparently the and sign's the ampersand. But whatever the hell that is, at Evo Consultants, at Evo_consultants. If you wish to follow along, we still do have our moments on there. So that being said, guys, as always, thanks for watching. If you like what you see, just hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. All right, and be good. Everything really is a transaction.